SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
All right, so Spotify Wrapped is out, and we just want to thank everybody who has watched a lot of SDP. But this one, somebody said, "Hey, I'm not even a Leafs fan, and I prefer watching this show on YouTube so I can look at Jesse Blake." But we did make it onto their Spotify Wrapped. So I say, Jesse, we do a Spotify Unwrapped featuring you.
Oh,
Spotify Jesse.
No, we still need to make the calendar of Adam Wilde in the Devil's costume. There's 12 different poses in the Devil's pajamas.
You know, I keep waiting for Erin Andrews to acknowledge the promotion that we gave her pajamas. I mean, how many millions of people have bought Erin Andrews New Jersey Devils
this is
pajamas?
like the reporter Erin Andrews.
Yes, it's her.
Why does she have a NHL collab? Is it like all sports collab?
I think it's whoever makes it. I think she does it for every team, and I think I think it's very likely that it crosses over a bunch of different sports.
Right. So it's like a Fanatics collab,
probably
like something like
and you know,
that
Erin's
makes a lot of sense.
huge, right? So I can see why she would do it.
Erin Andrews doesn't pay influencers, right?
Right.
That was great.
Listen,
that was
I
great.
should have been at that
that.
point. I should have been Erin's #1 call if she needed influence.
Yeah.
Like if you want a hairy belly and a hairy back, I'm your man. So speaking
And
of Spotify
knees.
Unwrapped,
and hairy
knees.
elbows,
We got
and
the
ears,
toes, everything. It's all there. It's all there. The grippers are covered. For free. So listen, we really appreciate looking at all of the minutes watched. What was it? 43,000
Mason.
minutes?
So shout out at Dottie Mason. I think you win right now. You're the leader in people who have sent us their Spotify Wrapped. You listened 47,000 minutes. The Spotify says you're in the top 0.05% of fans. So if anybody out there can be 47,000 minutes, I would be very impressed. But Mason's the champ right now.
I need to know more about you. I need to know, because we were doing the math. We don't think we made that much content this past year.
No, so it also
That's
counts
32.6 days.
It also counts archived content. So if you listen to old episodes, that's your listening within this year. So yeah, Mason, insane.
I also want to shout out Evan Dent, who's in the top 0.1. It would be in the top 0.05 if it weren't for Mason, who listened to 37,166 minutes.
That's wild.
Absolutely wild.
And Mason said, I listen to it every day. When I wake up and when I go to bed, I listen to it religiously. So that's how you get that 47.
I bet he doesn't have a subwoofer though.
No,
he'd know
he
that.
couldn't.
And then you can stand it.
He would hate it. He'd hate it so much.
Oh man. Now
Incredible.
it's funny with last night's game how it went from, oh my God, the Leafs are doing this again, to that's a pretty gutsy effort.
Yeah.
But I do want to start off with the many emotions of Sheldon Keefe. Jesse, I have sent you, unless you have something else you want to bring up here. No. I have sent you the video of Sheldon Keefe, and I'm sure if you were watching the game last night, you saw this. Sheldon Keefe, he went purple. He went the same color as his jacket.
He does that, I'd say, once a month.
And no, but this one, what was it? I think Dave Poulin said, man, Tyler Bertuzzi knows what Sheldon Keefe ate for breakfast.
Oh, 100%.
And what I want you to do, Jesse, is when we bring it up on the screen, I don't need you to, we can't play the video.
I got the best screen grab.
You got the best screen grab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can compare him to the color of his suit jacket. Look at that. Dude, he needs oxygen. Look at his lips.
It's an oxblood suit and an oxblood face.
Dude, he's losing his mind. Not having a good
Here's the thing,
time.
though. If you go to any part of that clip, and thank you, TikTok Tomar, for putting that on Twitter, any part of that clip, the emotion is the same. He's just in different poses.
Different.
So if
man.
Jesse were to just freeze it and put it at 15 seconds or 5 seconds, it's going to be the same. Look.
For those of you who didn't
What do
watch.
you think he's about to say there?
Well, what do you think he's about to say? What do you think this clip comes after?
Well, what is it, Jess or Steven?
It comes after the Leafs scoring the tying goal.
But he's mad because Bertuzzi didn't get the puck deep.
Is that what it was?
It was, they crossed the blue line into the offensive zone, and Bertuzzi's kind of dinking around with it just above the hash marks and doesn't get it low.
Is that what led to this?
Yes. And
I mean, it was pretty obvious.
And then he gets in his ear about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Yeah, it was bad.
He was upset.
Now,
He was a little grumpy.
that is going to happen throughout the season. Although I have to be honest, can you remember a time where Sheldon got that mad at anyone that openly?
Yeah.
Who?
The Canada bubble, when he just went, "Fuck you, Graham," at Graham Skilleter, the ref, and he got fined because you can't just go, "Fuck you," to a ref.
Okay.
Now, there's such a subtle difference.
Because that's a player versus a ref.
Well, yeah, but hey, Adam, fuck off. See how your eyebrows just went up? Fuck you.
Ooh, bit of a dagger, bit of
Right?
an arrow. Yeah.
So Keefe said fuck you and got fined. Paul Maurice will tell a ref to fuck off 50 times a night.
Yes.
And it's fine.
And one thing you can always guarantee when Paul Maurice comes through town, he brings the media in close and leaves them with a great quote. They love it. He loves it. And I love it when he's lost, because then you get to see crying Paul Maurice.
This market loves a Florida coach. This market
John
loves
Cooper.
being manipulated by a Florida coach.
Honestly, those guys save their best moments for when they're in Toronto. Like, I know that they have these conversations elsewhere, but if they're in Anaheim, Paul Maurice is not saying what he said last night. Do you want to just bring it up? Because I've got the actual press conference.
Sure.
Here. Absolutely loves a press conference in Toronto. And there are a few guys who take advantage of this, as they should. If you remember last year, the Florida Panthers were sort of faltering around March, right before the trade deadline. And Keith Tkachuk happened to call a local Toronto radio station and get on and say, yeah, they're playing soft. Yeah, they're really soft. And who were they playing that night? The Toronto Maple Leafs, who they, I believe, were pretty tough against at that point.
I believe beat. And also, like, hey, Leaf dads, like, you can do that whenever you want, eh? Like, if you feel like getting on the radio and just, like, ripping the team and motivating them to a run to the Stanley Cup final, you can do that whenever you want.
Here's Paul Maurice yesterday after the game, and we'll explain why he's so upset.
I have not seen that, especially that fast. No, you know what, I do think it's important that they have rules. Oh, fuck. Yeah, you do. It's important that we have them. Because there's no other way to do that, right? Because if he rips it off the guy and it goes off his shin pad and it goes in, is that a goal? That happens so fast. So it wasn't. Yeah, it's important we have rules. Just go with that, Steve. Fuck.
The penalty they call late.
They didn't vet this at all.
Yeah, that clip is awful. I apologize to everybody listening for the terrible audio. That's from Bally's Sports down in the States.
Yeah.
The
It was
beginning of
either
the
that
clip,
or there was play-by-play underneath it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
beginning of the clip
Those
has
are
like
two options.
play-by-play underneath it. They didn't cut out any of the fucks, which I actually admire, but I am positive they didn't do on purpose. I think they just don't generally care.
Yeah, the static in the background was
Or pay anyone.
brutal.
Yeah.
So that's pretty bad.
But the point is, first off, he's talking about the Evan Rodriguez goal that was disallowed. We've never seen this before. I
can't think of it.
The game was over. Evan Rodriguez had scored on the penalty shot. I believe it was the fourth round of penalties, and he
Something like that.
and he scored. But what happened was he shot the puck. It went off of Wool's pad and went back onto Rodriguez's stick and then went in.
Yes.
And you cannot score on a rebound in the shootout.
And that's technically a rebound.
Well, not technically. It is a rebound.
I mean, it's a rebound.
And so, like, I know that Maurice is going to have to, like, I don't know how much more clear that could be. I'd never heard of that rule, but it's pretty clear.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah, you can't take two shots on the fucking shootout.
But then Drew highlighted this clip yesterday when Noah Gregor scored. Or I think it was when Cousins hit the post or whatever. He goes to the ref. He goes, "Was that in? Fuck off." Easiest coach to lip read in the entire league.
Yes, 100%. Now, did you see Nylander after the game yesterday?
no.
He also said "fuck."
Yeah, he did. I did send the clip in, but here's what I love about William Nylander. When Jesse brings this up, what you're going to see is a man in his zone. Now, he had two or three chances to score yesterday. He didn't. And he's on a 3-game pointless streak. But he's got tarps off. Mm-hmm. He's got his earring in. Mm-hmm. He's got his silver chain. He's got his hat on. And Willie's
backward.
He's known for not being a great quote, but he's pretty good on this one. Have a listen.
First intermission. I mean, we all knew that we could play better, and I mean, we needed to dig deep, but show some character. But
Live on the
kind of took over in the second period. Yeah.
That's on live TV. I'm pretty sure.
Show some fucking character on TSN last night, which was great. I love the confidence there.
Can we acknowledge that you, Steve, have not made a big enough deal of this? Because this is something that would happen to the Leafs 10 times out of 10.
Oh, 11 times out of 10.
100 times out of 10. This would
Absolutely.
happen to the Leafs.
Yes.
And in the year of our Lord, 2023, it happened to the other team. Mm-hmm. And you should wear this as a crown forever.
Why do you think I'm wearing my champs shirt? The Leafs are the November 28th, 2023 champs.
But if this happened to Florida, like the Leafs, Matthews had a goal taken back in the shootout.
Yeah.
That would have been 10 minutes of the LFR.
Oh, Jesse, listen, as a Leaf fan, I'm happy the Leafs won. As a content creator, I am mourning the 250,000 view video that I lost. Because
When the Leafs were beneficiaries of
can
it.
you imagine?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Dude.
Well, I got to tell you. So you complain
Yeah.
that people think that your numbers only spike when they lose, and then you say shit like that. And we have the
Hey,
data.
no,
we
then
have the
people-
data that when they win, the numbers do better than when they lose, even in dramatic
The
fashion.
comment section is
Because
When they win the
of-
bigger games.
because of like the playoffs last year against Tampa when they won.
Yeah.
Those were bigger than we'd ever seen before. But then you go on and you say something like that to Jesse, and you can't complain that people think that if you're going to say that.
Because
No,
I'm looking at it like how you look at the Oilers situation. If if we hammer their losses,
Yes.
we got to hammer their wins.
Yes.
So
And
the
we're
Leafs,
going to,
you
by the
should
way.
hammer their spectacular magic.
Yes. I did. It was a 19-minute LFR.
It's not 200,000 views. It's not, they lost to a Zamboni driver.
Yeah. And I don't give a shit. I go with what was given to me, and what was given to me is my team won, and I'm happy about that. I'd rather they win. I showed you the numbers the other day. We could bring them up.
No.
We don't need to.
We're not
don't
going
need
to?
No.
Oh,
We don't need it.
life's better when they make the second round. Put it that way. Life's way fucking better when they win a playoff round. Dude, that happens to Toronto all the time. I can't believe they benefited from it. Unless, that's my bias. Because actually what happens is this Toronto gets away with this all the time, you see.
Well, that was because
the league
that
is
apparently
rigged.
was the Panthers. What the Panthers were saying going into the dressing room, only in Toronto, that sort of stuff.
Nearly 60 years without a cup. We're playing the long game.
Yeah, I
And
think
then
if
we're
the
going to
NHL
sneak up on you.
We're trying to rig things in Toronto's favor. They would have beat Florida last year.
Yeah.
I think
only
they
in
would've-
Toronto, that place where we went 3-0 in the playoffs last year. Fuck off.
They would have won a couple other games.
To quote Paul Maurice, fuck off.
So this is Steve. When you come in here and you're not, because you would have been stressed out, you would have been yelling, you would have been throwing things against the wall if they went the other way. So you should come in here overzealous, super happy, jumping off the walls, excited when these things go the Leafs' way.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I don't know. You're giving me like an 8 out of 10.
No.
But if it was on the other foot, you'd be giving me an 11. So I want an 11 out of excitement this time.
The show just started, boys. A little foreplay, please.
Okay. All right. As long as you
A
get
little
there
warm-up
eventually.
So I can get there.
Yeah.
So I can get to where I'm going.
All right. I want to see it.
That was, I don't know if you can hear my voice, but I fucking took it there last night. The entire video, I didn't really let off. Because I was ready to be at a 10 emotionally no matter what.
You're pissed halfway through.
Halfway through, before puck drop, I said, you know what? This is a Tuesday night against Florida, which is just hockey poison. Poison. I feel like the Leafs only play this fucking team on a Tuesday, and the building is at like a negative decibel. Like if any place, if you have a colicky baby, bring them to Scotiabank Arena so they can have the deepest, most peaceful sleep ever. And like just no one gets up for the game. And I'm like, okay, this is the team that embarrassed you in the playoffs. They pushed you around. They beat you earlier this season. They played last night. I don't care if they stomped Ottawa. They played last night. It's supposed to be harder. They're on the road. That's supposed to be harder.
Five guys got like the night off early, so
Yeah.
half of them didn't play.
7 minutes early. Nah, they missed out on like 2-3 minutes of ice time. Like, dude, you're supposed to win this friggin' game. If you think you're on par with the Panthers, which you're the Leafs, like you should think you're comparable at very least. This should be, one of the things Babcock used to say that I liked, one of the few, was like, home ice is supposed to be free win night. Like,
Who says that?
Babcock.
Why?
Supposed to be free win night. Well, because you have, if you're a good team and you have home ice advantage, hey, everything's stacked in your favor, isn't it? And how did they come out? Didn't protect the front of their net, got outscored 1-0 and got outshot 15-6.
Yeah.
You fucking stink. You stink. Oh, the things I was yelling at my TV. You soft bunch of bums. I was so mad. They were on pace to get outshot 45-18 on home ice. You're a disgrace. You suck. And I was really mad. Not as mad as Sheldon Keefe, apparently.
Nope.
Who lost it on his boys when they tied it up and they had to come back again. They're
good at that.
Jesse Blake. They
They're
are
good at it,
extremely
yeah.
good at that.
I hope you took the Leafs money line or at least plus 1.5 when they were down.
I hope you
1-0.
did. Did you do it?
I didn't know. I like when they get down by 2.
Okay.
Jesse
All right.
would have been wrong a grand total of once this season. I'm pretty sure.
Betting the comeback.
Like,
yeah.
dude, it's crazy.
It's insane.
Crazy. And that's when Keefe hammered them. They did show some fight. And then, but as the game went on, some things happened where I'm like, all right, like I got to lay off them a bit. Because, like, listen, you still have home ice advantage. You're still playing the tired team. You're playing with 5 defensemen again.
You lose Marner.
How does this keep fucking happening? You lose Marner. He comes back. He's very obviously not at 100%. Like, I could understand why playing with a cage when not playing for a cage for a very long time would suck ass. And then it started to turn into, you know what? It's November. Let's get the 2 points. I don't care how you get it. Just get the 2 points. And then they lost.
And
then, so when Rodriguez won it, I was in like no man's land because I was like, you know what? They were turning this narrative around on me. And then they went and fucking lost anyway. So now I've got this. They got 1 point. They should have got 2, but maybe 1 is good enough. But who the hell wants to hear that? What competitive person wants to hear that? And then the hockey gods drop this beautiful gift in our laps. This beautiful gift in our laps. We see something I don't think we've ever seen before. Not in an NHL shootout.
There is one. Drew is mentioning that it did happen
When did it
once.
To who?
The Penguins and Rangers.
Penguins and Rangers.
And Rangers thought they would win, and 2 minutes later the goal was called back, and then the Pens won it.
oh,
Was that in overtime?
Shootout. Yeah.
Shootout, double tap off the post. He hit the post.
Yeah, and it's
came
Dan,
back, hit his
Dan
stick, and
Boyle
went
that
in.
scored it.
Dan Boyle. Oh, so this was a while ago.
2014.
2014.
Yeah, so it's not something
Nearly
we've
a decade
seen.
ago.
Haven't seen that often. And
you
I
go.
thought what's that?
Oh, I just said there you go.
The Leafs
It's happened
revision
before.
crew, or the people who are like, hey, challenge that. That was a quick pick.
Mike Johnson has friggin' eagle eyes.
Yeah, he saw it too.
Because, dude, he said it like right away. And then they showed the replay and he's like, he did double tap it. And I'm like, he did? Like, I saw the replay too. I got up off my couch. I'm like, this close. Like, this is my TV. I'm like, oh, he's right. But like, I know Mike Johnson, he's down there between the benches watching the replay off like a Tamagotchi. And like, no idea how he was able to see that.
I think that's the best hockey crew we got right now. Those two.
I really enjoy their work.
I think
What? What?
yeah,
Well,
Why
don't
are you
work at
reluctant
Sportsnet.
to
It's okay.
say if they're
you
good
can't,
or not?
You can't. I don't want to sound anti-Sportsnet, right? But now that I don't work there anymore, I feel more comfortable praising the absolutely spectacular job TSN does at basically everything.
Yeah, the
I'm not even saying like TSN versus Sportsnet. I'm just talking about in hockey. Like there's a lot of different
They do an
broadcast teams.
incredible.
I think out of all of the oones I've seen, I like Gordy and Mark the best.
No, but
And
you're
Mike,
not allowed
sorry.
to. You're not allowed to talk about the red brand.
that's what they call it. Yes, red brand.
No,
and
the
blue brand.
3-letter.
the
Forbidden
three-letter.
3-letter.
Well, I'll say this. I've always been a Chris Cuthbert guy. I love Chris Cuthbert. Gord Miller is amazing.
I like him too.
But Mike Johnson is unbelievable between the benches.
He's fantastic at what
crazy.
he does.
Crazy.
It's perfect.
good.
The other guy I love, just want to throw this out there, Canadians fans on Anglais, Brian Mudryk. That guy's awesome. Awesome. He did one Leaf game once, and I was like, who was calling this? And I remembered him from SportsCenter, and I was like, damn, this guy's amazing at play-by-play.
There's some
like,
great
amazing.
broadcasters in this country, man. I'm still pissed at the Jets for stealing Dennis Bayak.
Oh, yeah, he was great.
Suck.
Just on the game very quickly, obviously, Leafs didn't look great in the first. They had the goal scored against them. Noah Gregor, big speed, leg out, top shelf.
Fastest man in the NHL, Noah Gregor.
Easily.
He's
Amazing.
fantastic.
Garbage. McDavid, garbage.
Yeah. No, but for him to get both goals and to draw that penalty at the end of the game, I didn't realize Noah Gregor would have one game where he was that consequential. Like, and it's no offense to Noah Gregor, but it's like he's not supposed to be that consequential.
Okay. I'm not gonna make this into a big deal. Joseph Wool was friggin' incredible last night.
Yes.
He got the belt. Give it to Gregor.
Yeah.
Dude, Wool is gonna win the belt lots of times. He's the team's starting goalie. Noah Gregor's a fourth line left winger. Like, I hope he has better games than that, but like from a fourth line left winger, you can't get much better than that.
And drawing a 4-minute penalty. I thought it was interesting. Paul Maurice had an offensive zone faceoff, and he could have put any other line out, but he put his fourth line out. And what that led to was the Leafs' fourth line turning it around on them and inevitably drawing a penalty, which is what they did.
Well, so on the broadcast, they pointed out that the Panthers had their fourth line out, but what they didn't point out is the Leafs had their third line out in the D zone, which if I were Sheldon Keefe, I would simply never do.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think it was both coaches temporarily lost their minds.
But it led to that.
And it did.
Because the Leafs immediately pushed it in. One thing I want to give the Panthers big props for is the way they killed that penalty. The Leafs power play. You have a power play with 3 minutes left in the game, and if it goes to overtime, you've got another minute. And the Leafs could not get anything going, and then it inevitably leads to a too many men. They're 8th in 20 games.
8th in 20 games. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
Screaming about that. Before we do that, I just want to shout out Anthony Stollers for being
Man, what a night.
Yeah,
dude.
great.
What a night!
Great
When
game.
what year was he drafted?
No idea.
2012. 2012. This guy has played in I think 7 different seasons. I looked it up yesterday. He still hasn't hit 100 games. Like, this guy has an NHL career the hard way. And for him to be like just hitting his stride as he's about to turn 30, I'm pretty sure is pretty crazy for him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when I saw he was there basically full-time backup, I'm like, are you sure? I don't know. And here he is putting in quality starts.
Yeah.
I have some Noah Gregor skating speed stats for you to back
give
up
it to
the eye test of Noah Gregor being the fastest man in the NHL.
NHL Edge, way faster than McKinnon.
This is from NHL Edge, as Steve said. In terms of 22 plus mile per hour bursts of speed, he has 5 of them this season. That is in the 95th percentile of players in the NHL. From 20 to 22 mile per hour bursts, he has 46. That is in the 93 percentile of NHL players. He is fast, and he is fast very often.
Dude, if you're going to be on the fourth line, you might as well be fast and you might as well be big.
Top skating speed this year, 22.65 miles per hour.
That's fast.
Can you put that in the rest of the world?
Kilometers?
Yeah.
22.
I don't know how fast that
22.65 miles per hour in kilometers.
34 and a half.
34 and a half kilometers.
Ooh.
Why does the NHL use miles per hour?
Because it's
I guess
States.
American.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
The rest of the world.
fuck
Kilometers.
kilometer?
He is fast, and he is fast by the numbers and in your eye test.
Yeah. And, he did, like, when you see him and Reeves and Camp out there in the offensive zone, cycling things around, like, again, the Leafs didn't sign Reeves to play a lot of hockey.
No, they signed him to serve bench miners for plays he wasn't on the ice.
That's
for.
right.
That was funny. They all had a good chuckle. They all had a good chuckle. Nice there.
But
Make people laugh.
they did look reasonable last night.
Reeves was the decoy on the Gregor goal. I was going to tweet that, and I'm like, no, don't do it, Steve.
Yeah, dude.
I was kidding.
So do you want to talk about the too many men, guys?
Sheldon Keefe said they addressed it, and they're still fucking doing it. So I don't.
To be fair to him, that felt like the iffiest too many men I've ever seen.
Yeah, but
you
you're
don't
the
get
Leafs.
the breaks when you do it all the time. You get those. We get to give you the leeway when it's like rare, but this happens all the time, so you get no leeway.
And what is it, guys? Is it because again, you're taught
More
from a
than
young
5
age,
men.
hustle your ass back to the bench, hustle back so you don't get it too many men. The Leafs don't do that.
Okay, hustle back, and also don't touch the fucking puck. Don't touch it.
Yeah, Willie touching it there.
Don't touch it.
Just leave it.
There's like 2 parts to the rule, and it's too many parts for them. I don't get it. They're on pace for 32 of these.
That's wow. It's over a third a game.
Yeah, probably 33.
32?
Actually. Because that's based on 20 games and me multiplying it by 4. There's 82.
Wow.
Guys, you can't be much worse than this. Stop. Get to the bench quickly. Don't touch the fucking puck. What's the matter with you? And by the way, you said it was an iffy too many men call. Go and look at the Florida Panthers one. NHL officials will even do makeup calls for bench minors.
Yeah, both of them were on the same borderline.
It's a disgraceful league. Disgraceful league. And they'll even get fooled by big cheating divers.
Who's that?
You don't remember?
What call are you talking about?
Sam Bennett. Sam Bennett taking a big old yucky cheaty dive because he's a big old yucky cheaty diver.
You think it was a big old yucky cheaty dive?
It was.
Yeah.
The only thing I can
And
remember.
then he went like that.
The only thing I can remember from Sam Bennett is the torpedo that he launched at Matt Nyes that knocked him out of the playoffs. Like that's what it was. He literally Supermaned him.
He's tough.
But
He's so tough. He dives with the best of them.
well, he beat Domi in the fight.
he
People are
sure
gonna throw
did
that at you.
Yeah. Oh, anytime you can fight a guy with a busted finger, you got to do it. He's so tough. He's so tough. Fucking, he dove all over him.
Since
It's
we're
so good.
on Panthers, Ryan Lomberg had the game of his life.
Holy shit!
That dude's good.
Yeah.
It's not even the play he made on Willie where he pushed him off the puck and then took the puck and then they scored.
Awesome.
There was the zone time earlier in that period where he just kind of held the zone on his own. Tavares was chasing him around and Ryan Lomberg's just doing his edge work behind the net
So
and carrying the puck.
The one I noticed was against the other $11+ million center. It was Auston.
Yeah, no, Austin too.
Had a terrible game. Terrible
Mm-hmm.
game. And Lomberg, if you can put someone else out there against Ryan Lomberg, you can't pick one of the best players in the league. You can't pick the guy who's going to be the highest paid player in the league next year. You got to know better when Ryan Lomberg's on the ice.
Mm-hmm. No, but that's a really talented player, and if Florida has so many guys like you put Sam Bennett in that same category of these guys who they can do kind of everything. You want them to play physical, you want them to have some speed, you want them to get in the zone, make some plays on the puck. Like Florida, up and down the lineup has really talented players, and it's impressive to watch them play. And like you kind of see like, oh, their run makes a little more sense this year. Seeing them come out the gate as they were fully formed last year at the end of the season. Because remember, they snuck into the playoffs, and now we get to see them at this form coming in this year.
Paul Maurice he's not going to sleep with you.
They're a very good team.
If you ask him, he'll say "fuck off."
Yeah. And then other thing. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say very underrated part of the Paul Maurice presser. Because people were focusing on him saying "fuck off" and talking about the rules. He called that a light game.
Yeah, based on what Ottawa did.
Well,
yeah, I mean that was the Ottawa game was like just a brawl though.
Yeah, that's fun.
Paul Maurice is all about managing psyche and managing expectations.
Except for when he's on the big stage because he couldn't do it here.
Well, no, he didn't have a goalie. He didn't.
He could.
They gave him Toskala and Raycroft. Dude.
He made
He had a shit
he
Leafs
made the
team.
playoffs with the Jets, who had some pretty
Connor
rough
Hellebuck.
Yeah.
before Connor Hellebuck.
Oh, Pavelectricity?
Yes.
No, Pavelek just lost his mind for like a month. And then they
And
Paul
was great
Maurice
for a month.
coached some garbage teams here. Like, I don't blame him.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him for that. He's great at managing expectations and psyche, and he's got these guys playing playoff style hockey at the end of November. Like, they're going to be axe wielding maniacs by the time April arrives. Like, look out for the Panthers again. Who the hell wants to play them in the first round?
Nobody.
Yeah, and like I think everybody who was predicting like how the Atlantic was going to go, I don't think anybody had them second, at this point in the season. I think everybody thought they'd be a wild card team, again this year, and they're looking like they can challenge for Boston.
We did it again. Atlantic team starts the season with injuries after an impressive showing the season before. Now they're probably going to take a step backward. Nope. And now all their guys are back.
And the last thing on the game, Sheldon Keefe, when you play William Nylander for 2 minutes and 35 seconds to end overtime, he literally played the entire back half of overtime. Don't have him start the shootout. How about that?
That's
How about
actually
don't have him as the first shooter when he's sucking
That's
wind
probably a good point.
because he played 2 minutes and 35 seconds of the entire back half of overtime.
You know what? You're right. David Kampf.
Start the
Start with
shootout.
David Kampf. You're
Yeah.
going to start overtime with David Kampf.
I don't know.
Here's another one. Don't start the shootout with the guy who's 0 for 3 in the shootout. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, he hasn't been. He's done the same move every single time.
Dude, the shootout is a piece of shit, dude. It's not real hockey. Who won the shootout last time?
With what?
It's Max Domi. He doesn't have a fucking goal.
And he almost scored again.
He
last night.
tried his.
Yeah.
So all of them do the exact same move every
Yeah.
time. If I'm a goaltender, and you're going to a shootout, you just look up what the Leafs did last time because they're going to do it again. But Max Domi went for that top right corner facing the net, and he just missed it.
Just missed.
Peter
But he hit
Holland
it last
used to
time.
be automatic.
Yeah.
Used to be automatic. He had the same move over and over and over again. And I'm like, read the game notes. Watch some footage. Holy shit. How do I know what he's about to do and you don't?
Well, because you watch the Leafs all the time.
If I had to play against them, I would do a little modicum of research.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pitchers in the MLB, they have like their notes on what batters do, or
Yeah.
the batters have their notes on what the pitchers are going to do. Why don't goalies just have their notes on hey, every single time Max Domi is going to try and hit that top corner?
Do you think that they do, except for they don't have it for the shootout? Because what are the chances? Because a lot of games just don't get there, right?
Be prepared.
dude, you
Jobs
have,
to play hockey.
You have people there.
you have an entire staff of people in the back you talk to on your little James Bond thing in your sleeve. Like, can someone not go to the bench? Like, he's going to shoot at this place. He always shoots at this place. And then someone relays the message. Come on. What do you do? Anyway, so it was Max Domi the last time. It was Noah Gregor this time.
Which, by
It
the way,
doesn't need to be your star. That's all
Gregor
I'm saying.
Gregor scored the same way Max was trying to.
Well, Mike Johnson goes, he has to shoot it. And I was just like, in that moment, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen him deke.
Yeah.
Picture it. You can't.
No, he always scores off the rush with speed.
He's got a piss missile of a shot. Was that his fourth?
Third,
According
to NHL Edge. This is what I have in front of me. So
No, they're wrong.
hopefully it's updated.
No, it was 4.
I also want to throw out there that Mark Giordano will miss significant time. So the Leafs' defensive injuries this year have included Klingberg, Liljegren, Gio, and Timmins. All of them have or will, once they come off of IR, miss at least 4 weeks, but most of them have missed 6 weeks when they've been injured. Liljegren, Timmins, and Klingberg he's going to push a month, and it might even be longer, and then we don't know with Gio.
Was McCabe LTIR? I can't
Oh, yeah, McCabe. I forgot McCabe on that, too. I don't know.
well, there you go.
McCabe missed.
I know Timmins was.
Yeah. And Timmins, by the way, everybody's being hard on the guy, and it's like, dude, he missed 6 weeks. Like, it's going to take some time. But
Visually, I thought
He doesn't-
was awful last night.
yeah, he doesn't
But
have his vision at all.
his underlying numbers on Dom's whatever it is stat card, he was the best Leaf apparently.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but maybe I need better eyes.
I think there were certain times where you'd see with Connor Timmins where it's like he doesn't have the vision of where a player is going to be, so he hangs onto the puck a little too long or whatever. But I wasn't worried about it. It just
The speed's a problem right now,
yeah.
and which makes sense because he's fuck, he was playing so good.
Yeah.
And then he missed a month and a half or whatever.
Also, remember that that's preseason, and it is different. Fraser Minton
Yeah.
played amazing in preseason.
Didn't he have a 6-point game or
Yeah.
something in like a junior B arena or something? I don't know.
That's the point, is that there is a step up. And
Yeah.
Connor Tibbetts was never going to be, your number one right-handed option, but I think they are hoping that with a little bit of time he
Is
gets
now.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like they're CJ's already put his trade board up, and the first 4 players on it are Flames, which I think is hilarious.
yeah.
So it's Tanev, Zadorov, Lindholm, and somebody else, and we'll get to it later. But I just thought, like, listen, if the Leafs are going to make a move, this November might be a time, or December might be a time,
Well,
just
like-
because you might need to.
The team clearly has warts, but they're 5-1-1, I think, is the number in their last 7. But also, it's like practical to go out and get at least one defenseman on account of you played Simone Benoit in overtime.
Do you
last night.
care? Do you care that they are like, I don't know, 3rd last in the league in regulation wins
Yeah.
right now? Do you
Yeah.
care?
There's no shootout or 3-on-3 bullshit in the playoffs.
But
Yeah, so win the overtime game.
yeah, win the overtime.
Yeah.
I'm
no,
so-
it's good that they're winning those games,
Yeah.
but it's concerning long term.
I'm so not concerned about
not-
that.
I'm not
They
worried
made
about it
such a big deal on the broadcast about it, the regulation wins, but like they won the games. Why are we complaining?
Oh, I'm happy they won the games. It's just one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind.
Yeah, it's to me, people are like making it like it's the equivalent of players 5-on-5 versus power play. Like I don't think
I think that's
we're
pretty relevant, man.
how though? Tell me how.
Because most of the game is played at 5-on-5, and once the playoffs arrive, even more of the game is played at
Right, but
One
we're
of my
not
biggest
talking about 5-on-5.
arguments-
We're talking about regulation.
You
wins.
brought up 5-on-5.
Yeah.
No, but I was making a general equivalence,
and it was
which is,
fucking stupid.
I'm not talking about their 5-on-5
Yeah.
play. What I'm saying is that 5-on-5 play is extremely
5-on-1?
important in a advanced statistical thing.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that regulation wins versus overtime wins 7 or 8 weeks into the season are the same thing. Is what I'm saying. We don't
Right.
need to have
Still-
regulation wins be that important.
Right.
It's not a paramount
I don't
thing.
believe the Leafs are as good as the Sharks because they have the same amount of.
That's what I'm
regulation.
saying.
Yes.
I think
They're not going to regress to the
people
Sharks
are going with that narrative of the Blackhawks and the Sharks and the Ducks and the Leafs all have the same amount of regulation wins, so they're equal. I think that's a ridiculous thing to say.
I agree, but also you could argue the Leafs aren't as good as other teams that they're tied in the standings with, because those teams have twice the amount of regulation wins.
Yeah, there's a nuance and a balance to it that I think people aren't giving credence to the regulation wins thing.
Can I ask a weird one too? I was thinking about this last night, and I was texting back and forth with somebody, and I was wondering if playing the way that they play is exhausting.
Playing the way.
So what I'm
Leafs
saying
playing
is-
the way they play is exhausting.
The formula has been, and Jesse, you've bet this, so you like it's literally happened time after time. Go down early, push at the end, right?
Their formula isn't to go down early though.
No, but that's been the result of the formula. So the formula needs
Sure.
to change. My question is that not having to push that hard instead of being in the driver's seat the entire game, which we've seen maybe twice this year, is that not an exhausting way to play? Do you not burn yourself out a little bit by doing that constantly over and over and being consistently in the we got to come back psyche? That's a lot of that's extra stress. That's like it is, right?
Here, I'm trying to find the stat. The NHL put out a press release yesterday where they were talking about like the quarter mark of the season and all these different fun numbers and everything that come with the NHL Edge site. Oh boy, it was a pretty news-filled day yesterday in the NHL, so I'm having trouble finding this. Here it is. I said there's been a lot of comebacks too. The 62 third period comeback wins in around the NHL are tied for the third most ever at this stage of a season with the 2018-19 and 2008-9 season behind 2019-20. Holy fuck, that's worded terribly, Steve. Over 44% of games this season have been comeback wins. So I guess, you know, I look at it and the Leafs fall behind a lot and they come back a lot. The very few times that they've had a lead, they've tend to blow it. They blew it against Chicago. And is that something that we should read deeply into, or is that just the way hockey is played today?
I think it's a inherently Leafs problem. One stat I was looking at is time spent leading this season.
We haven't updated this in a while.
And time spent tied.
Okay.
The Leafs are currently the 23rd worst team in the league in time spent in the lead.
Wow.
So below them, so they've spent an average of 16 minutes and 31 seconds per game in the lead. The only teams
I
below
can't
them,
believe it's that much.
yeah, the teams below them: the Coyotes, Capitals, Sharks, Hurricanes, Canadians, Flames, Ducks, Wild,
For
Blackhawks.
context, Jesse, what is the best, top 5 team for time spent leading per game?
That's a very good question, Adam Wild. On the other end, we have 1 through 5, the Kings, who spend an average of 31 minutes and 47 seconds in the lead per game this season.
Great team.
The Bruins, 27 minutes.
Very good team.
Canucks,
falling off.
27 minutes.
Well, we'll
team.
see.
Rangers, 27 minutes. And the Avalanche,
Great team.
26 minutes.
Great
That's
team.
the top 5.
Sorry, can you read number 6?
The Flyers, 25.
I know, they've had some
37.
interesting
And the
stuff.
Penguins, Adam.
The Penguins are up there too. But yeah, if you go through that top 5 of time spent in the lead, the Kings, Bruins, Canucks, Rangers, Avalanche, you'd say those are the top 5 teams in the league so far this
Yes.
season.
Who leads in trailing?
So the team who had spent the most time trailing this season is the Chicago Blackhawks.
Obviously.
The Ducks, the Wild, the Flames, the Sharks.
You're not a little surprised that it's not the Sharks.
So the Leafs are middle of the pack, although they are tied. Oh, no, sorry, they're not tied. They're within 20 seconds of the Blue Jackets.
Yes, but what's important there, I think, is the time spent tied, where the Leafs are second in the league. So they're only behind the New York Islanders they're only behind the New York Islanders. They're at 25 minutes and 30 seconds per game.
And look at the teams in the top 10. Like, that stat tells me nothing.
Yeah, really.
You think so?
Tells you nothing.
Islanders are mid. Leafs are mid. Golden Knights are great. Arizona's on the lower side of mid. Habs are on the very lower side of mid.
They're not mid. Habs are not mid.
Yeah, they're not very good. The Kraken haven't been very good. The Jets have been a very good team this year. Sabres have been kind of mid. Looks like they might have their goaltending figured out. The Stars are great. The Rangers are great. Red Wings have been very good. Bruins as well. Like, I don't know. That stat doesn't tell me much.
I think with the Leafs being at the very top of the league in time tied and then near the bottom in time leading, is that they don't spend a lot of time front running.
Yes.
I think we can deduce those two things from those two stats. I think you
have
can
to
take
spend
that
more
away.
Money. You have to spend more money, more energy, trying to get the lead back. You do.
I don't know if they're a good enough defensive team to do it. Like, I kind of think this is the problem. When the game is tied, there's a really good chance they're not going to be the
I
next
would love
team
to know.
score.
I would love to know if there's a stat for most goals scored against within the first couple minutes of you scoring a goal. Like the Leafs, a couple
they
of times
gotta
this
be
year,
up there.
They'll score a goal and 50 seconds later the other team scored
Within 3 minutes. Definitely
crazy.
within 3 minutes. Well, you know what, Adam? They might not be at the top of that because they so rarely get the lead.
No, I'm not talking about a lead. I'm just talking about you.
A goal
Score
within
a
your
Just
goal.
a goal.
And it's a goal against. I'm like, listen, there's
That was the entire Sabres game.
there's problems with this team.
There is big time
Problems with this
and
team.
I do think that they're going to have to look at that defense sooner rather than later because I know that Vancouver making their move to move Beauvillier to Chicago yesterday, and we're going to talk about Corey Perry next, so don't worry, we're getting to it. But Beauvillier being moved opens up the cap space for Vancouver. Vancouver's been looking pretty strongly at defense, especially from Calgary. So it feels like they're the one who is closer to making that move. And I don't know that the Calgary defensemen are necessarily the answer, but it certainly seems like we gotta upgrade.
Yeah, people are sniffing around Columbus too. Everyone's forgotten about them.
Was it not Boquist? Who was the other defenseman? That's
Peak?
Andrew Peak is
Peak
on
and,
CJ's trade list.
Bean. Yeah.
Yeah, do you like Jake Bean?
Oh, I didn't say I like him. I just said he's available.
Okay. So yesterday we finally got more clarification from the Chicago Blackhawks and John Davidson. Not John Davidson, Kyle Davidson. Than we had. Corey Perry was put on waivers yesterday. Contract to be terminated. and that's because he breached the terms of his deal. Every contract has behavioral clauses, morality clauses, so you can pick and choose between which ones he may or may not have broken. But what they told us was, or what they said on the press conference, was that he engaged in conduct that is unacceptable and in violation of both the term of his contract with the Blackhawks and the Blackhawks' internal policies. It was reported by Ryan Clark and Emily Kaplan for ESPN that an incident occurred involving a team employee when he traveled to Columbus last Tuesday. That is as far as we've gotten. And I think for everybody that's saying, Chicago left us twisting in the wind and they don't deserve the benefit of the doubt, you're right, and you're right. But I do want to throw out there that very likely the reason Chicago didn't say anything is because they couldn't. You can't comment on an active investigation when it's happening except to acknowledge that it's happening. And even then, they probably wanted to keep it private before it was out there. The second thing is there was very likely a non-disclosure signed here for multiple parties. So the reality is, if you think that this is coming out, it's probably not. This is a story that you probably never get the full answer to. And I would imagine, I'm just betting here, that money exchanged hands. I think that
I don't know.
That's what this smells like to me. That's what I'm going to say.
I don't disagree.
And I think it's important because I think the Blackhawks actually were trying to get away from the Blackhawks of old.
This is a lot of people are not thinking about what has happened with the story level-headedly at all. So it's the Blackhawks, and you're going to give them the benefit of the listen. I think my disgust and I would say outright hatred of this organization has been pretty well documented. If any team has the incentive to follow the absolute letter of the law on everything right now, it's the Chicago Blackhawks. A lot of people cited the Kyle Beach scandal. Mm-hmm. And one of the biggest aspects of that scandal is not just the legality of the scandal. It was the Blackhawks violated their own terms, right? They had their own HR policies and they did not follow them, leading to X and Y and Z. Right now, something happened with Corey Perry and a team employee.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Was the words. We don't know what that something is. We're not owed that, frankly. But if it was in violation of their terms,
it was serious.
You gotta go. You gotta go. And I don't know if that employee is also gone. I don't know if they were the victim of something. We have no idea, and we're not going to know. They said it wasn't a police matter. I'm willing to assume if it were that serious that it needed to get the police involved, the Blackhawks would. I mean, again, what team has more incentive to do the right thing than them right now? I mean, every team should have all the incentive.
Yeah, but the NHL, you can bet, was all over this behind the scenes. Don't you dare fuck this up.
You're absolutely right, Adam. You're absolutely.
They can't afford another one.
It's funny because 48 hours has passed since we did the show on Monday where we had no info, and we sit here right now and we don't really have much more info. We knew on Monday that something had happened with Corey Perry and he had to be sit at home from the team. And then from Monday to today, we learned that his contract is being terminated and that an incident involved a team employee. Those are really the only two new pieces of information that we had publicly.
It's not a lot,
yes,
but it is.
It is a lot, but it's also we speculate on what's going to happen and all this stuff. But everything that we kind of thought about the incident on Monday hasn't really changed because it's only those new pieces of information. We don't have a full story here, and we're not going to get it.
No, but the biggest pieces is so Corey Perry obviously did something bad enough that the Blackhawks felt it was appropriate to terminate his contract. The fact the NHLPA has been pretty mum on this makes me curious.
Well, I think it's because the NHLPA likely knows that this is not something they want to challenge.
Well, that's what I'm alluding to. But the other thing, the very important thing, is it was a team employee. And as far as I know, no one on the Blackhawks roster has a parent who works for the team. You know what I mean? Well, because the big rumor was coming out was Corey Perry, like cat's out of the bag. Everyone knows about this. People I haven't spoken to in weeks and months were texting me, did Corey Perry really? Did he sleep with a teammate's mom?
Connor Bedard's mom. Just come out and say it.
Connor Bedard's mom, because, I mean, that was the rumor. Absolutely everyone gleefully put out there, made memes about, and I was tremendously disappointed with a lot of people. Like, not to get parental about it. And I know people are like, oh, we're having fun. Like, with what? Like expand on that. What do you mean you were having fun? What was fun? The kid you were saying, the guy. Oh, okay. Like, just say the words. Like, what was fun? You're uncomfortable because you know you're in the wrong. You feel like a bit of a bully right now. Feel like a bit of an asshole.
Yeah, I can imagine what it might be like to be an 18-year-old having to experience the NHL for the first time and then having your mom unfairly dragged into something she had nothing to do with.
Yeah, I felt so bad for
super
Bedard.
shitty, dude.
Like, to be the butt of a joke on social media and then this being the joke, like I felt so bad for him all yesterday.
I tell you what. So earlier this season, when Bedard wouldn't speak to the media in Toronto, so that there's two things from that little incident. When the Blackhawks wouldn't make Bedard available to the media in Toronto, I was like, this dude he's going to be the face of the league. You got to put him in front of the cameras. And so many people were like, he just turned 18. He's just a little baby boy. And a lot of those same people were like, ha ha, and joining in on the pile-on and making the memes and everything. And I overnight have gone from the Blackhawks were ridiculous to not make him available to the media to, if I were Connor Bedard, I would never, ever, ever for the rest of my life set foot in front of a microphone or camera ever again.
He was great after
the
Blackhawks game yesterday. He did the scrum in the dressing room and he was fantastic. Like,
well,
the dude's a professional at such a young age, and
that means Connor Bedard is a bigger person than the vast majority of the people on the internet.
I think that
yes.
we could have probably said that before this incident. But,
Yeah.
I
think we needed this to learn that.
The other thing we're seeing is a lot of people are like, well, the insiders know and they're just not telling us. And I definitely think there are people that know. I know that there are people that know. The reality of the situation is there is a legal situation that occurred here. And the reason it's not being reported on, probably, very likely, is because nobody can source it. And frankly, that's why people do the NDA thing.
But they also don't owe you anything.
Well, 100%.
Mr. Random Person Online.
I think the argument, and I think it's a flimsy one, is that it's because it's the Blackhawks you're owed. But in fact, it's not, because it's not just the Blackhawks. There's a team employee. There's Corey Perry's family. There's the organization itself. There's a bunch of different parties here.
They're taking liberties with a team they feel they have carte blanche to bully.
And I mean, I don't blame anybody for not trusting the Blackhawks.
Dude, I hate the Blackhawks. I don't like Corey Perry as a player. So I think people are taking license with that. But the memes haven't really been about the Blackhawks. They haven't been about Corey Perry. They've been about this poor fucking kid.
And his mom.
And his mom.
And the thing is people saying, poor Connor Bedard, yo, I feel bad for his mom, too.
Who's going to be the first dickhead fan base to come up with some sort of stupid fucking chant?
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't?
I don't think so. I don't think
no,
so.
I hope not.
I honestly don't think so.
Adam, that's a very good point. Like, feeling bad for Bedard, like, we should definitely do that. But also, his mother is also in this. I'm sure she's getting bombarded.
All she did was support her son on the mom's trip.
It's crazy.
And it was some random Twitter account that put this out
shit.
there.
People are talking about, like, oh, man, Corey Perry.
Yeah.
You're a fucking asshole. There are a lot of people who should probably shut the fuck up forever after this incident. Behaving like that. And, like, it's funny because why? Because why? Like, explain yourself. Like, what's the joke? Let me in on the joke. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This isn't a movie, asshole. This is real life. This is a real person. Mm-hmm. I could see how, this storyline, like, this isn't an episode of Shoresy, dude.
Yeah.
It's real fucking life. You're awful. There are some people who really, really got it. You're not in elementary or high school anymore. Grow the fuck up. There's some monstrous shit over the last few years. Maybe I'm just too old now.
Yeah, you're some of the stuff you're yelling like you're not in high school anymore. A lot of that comes from kids though.
Well, some of them are.
Yeah, like they're literally in high school. The people like in your mentions and stuff.
And I'm no better. Dude, if I was in high school and this was the rumor, I'd probably have a t-shirt about it.
If you're over the age of 18, I give people a pass before that.
If you're younger than Connor Bedard.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. And that counts for this year only.
But there are some grown-ass men and women, like in their 20s and 30s, like just having a field day with this. Fucking awful, dude.
Yeah. The entire Bedard family, like it's such unfortunate.
Like Kyle Davidson getting choked up and everything. Like I felt that because like what's he supposed to do? Yeah, imagine that moment in your life. You're like, I'm going to be a GM in the NHL and I'm going to build a team and one day we're going to win the Stanley Cup. You never pictured that moment.
And I think, wasn't he around when all the other stuff broke?
I think he was. I don't remember.
I think he was because remember it broke in the 21-22 season and he was making a trade with the Leafs that was scuttled.
It was after.
No,
I know he took over from Bowman.
Adam's right about the timeline.
Yeah.
So he had to deal with the fallout from Bowman.
Yeah. But like you probably walk into that going, okay, like I know this is coming. Like, dude, you didn't know this scandal was.
Well, it happened very quickly. And the thing
they pulled Corey Perry off the ice. I think a lot of teams would have been like, you know what? We're just gonna let him play. And then, there's an argument to be made that maybe they should have let him play.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't become a public scandal because he gets pulled off the ice and people go, oh, is it an injury? Is it a trade? But as soon as they found out about it, they followed the letter of the law. They found out an employee did wrong. They pulled him out of company activities immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no way you play Nikita Zaitsev as your seventh defenseman willingly unless there's a dire situation.
Yeah.
So that's what they did. That's how we know it was serious.
Yes,
they put Zaitsev in for Perry.
He's he was their third leading scorer. I don't know. I just listen, when I was younger, I would have been all over this. And, maybe I'm just a curmudgeon now. But there were some people who were really, really, really fucking awful.
I think
the last few days.
I think sometimes what happens is you're not a curmudgeon. Perhaps it's just more like you have more empathy, which takes time to develop.
It
just
does.
more mature.
Yeah,
it does.
Empathy. Listen, I didn't have a lot of it when I was younger.
No.
And now that I've grown up and experienced things and had some really bad moments.
No, life's got to knock
okay, well, yeah, maybe I was too judgmental.
Life's got to knock you down a few times.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So it's one of those where I think we will look back on that and it will be a very ugly social media incident. I don't think that's caught up yet.
It's that Britney Spears documentary comes out and people go, oh, 2007 was a different time. And 2007 was all over my timeline for the last week.
Yes.
No, you still suck.
And don't blame the Blackhawks for that. Because they had to do what they had to do.
Well, and the amount of people who were like, what was it? and the Blackhawks were like, we can't say. And they were like, so it's the mom thing. It's the mom thing until further notice. I'm holding you fucking hostage because I haven't developed well at all. I'm not well adjusted in the least. So because you haven't said anything, I'm choosing to believe the mom thing and it's your fault. Go to therapy. The fuck?
The Blackhawks do not owe random internet person an answer.
No, they don't. They don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only person they really, you can argue as a fan that they owe you some transparency. What they gave you was the most transparency they can. Like I told you, something legal proceeding-y happened here. Absolutely. No questions asked. That's why it stops at that. So
it's okay that you don't know how the sausage is made. Just don't pretend like you know how it is.
Fair enough. We'll leave it at that. Hey, this show is sponsored in part by BetterHelp. So, listen, if you want to feel better, potentially get some help.
Sorry,
BetterHelp.
you made it sound like that was going to be it.
No. Should I just go back to the hockey now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, because Adam, sometimes you got to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And the great thing about BetterHelp is that you're matched with somebody very quickly. Usually by the time most people admit. Can I tell this story?
Oh,
There was a time when I was
you were married. Yeah.
several times actually. There was a time when I was a younger man, and a friend of mine reached out and said, "Not doing so hot." And it took me months to convince this person that therapy was not only an option, but it wasn't failure. Right? A lot of people equate therapy with "I've failed at life," which is not what it is at all. That's like going to the gym and going, "I've failed at life." It doesn't make any sense at all. Sometimes you just need a disinterested party to toss things against. And the great thing about BetterHelp is you can sign up. We've got options for video chats. You got options for phone calls. You got options for text message. Whatever it is you're comfortable with, BetterHelp is the place to go. And if you go to BetterHelp.com/STP today, you get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/STP. Are the Oilers back?
Yeah.
Ish.
Ish.
Now, they did have a nice little lead on the Vegas Golden Knights. They pulled a Leafy thing, and they let in a couple of bad goals in the last 6 minutes.
Keegan Colasar, my hero.
You suck. How the...
I know.
Jesse, tell the class what you did. How did you do this?
I picked up Keegan Colasar in fantasy yesterday.
You did what?
Before the Golden Knights game, and I put him into my lineup, and he scored a goal.
Why did you do that?
I need an extra body because I have Svechnikov on my team, and he got scratched before pregame for the Hurricanes game, so I need an extra body. I was looking at guys who would put up like nice of the other numbers, the blocks, the hits, and that sort of stuff.
And he scored.
And Colasar had some good hits numbers, and I threw him into my lineup.
He had no goals
in
in 22 games.
That was his first goal of the season, yeah.
And you picked him up in fantasy.
And he scored yesterday. That's luck. Like, I did not plan for Keegan Colasar to score a goal. I got lucky. But,
Dude.
I'm a big fan of Keegan now.
What
Doing
the-
wonders for my team.
How did you pull that shit off? That's crazy.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Oh, my
Or
God.
smart.
That was very
Crazy.
funny.
Yeah.
And Leaf legend Ben Hutton.
Ben Hutton also, yeah, he had the goal number 3 to get them
I can't
back
believe
into
he's
it.
still playing. The Leafs barely played him when he was here.
Well, dude. Oh.
Vegas is deep.
They are deep.
Like-
Thank you for bringing this up. Okay. No. Okay.
Where we go?
Don't look at. Okay. I am a winger who can play center. Okay. I'm 6'1", 200 pounds. Last year, or the season before, I scored 11 goals. And last year, I scored 16. In 16 playoff games, I had 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points. Do I not sound like a player who can play on every NHL team, including the Leafs?
Yes, and they gave him up on waivers because
I am
he-
Michael
he-
fucking Amadio. He was the third star of that game, even though they lost. He has 13 points in 23 games. He's a half a point a game player this year.
It's what
Dude,
happens
what?
when you sign players. And I hate to dismiss Joe Thornton. I was just excited as anyone to have him here. You want to hold Joe Thornton in your lineup, you're going to have to say goodbye to Michael Amadio.
You know when I had another one of these moments was last Friday when Vancouver played Seattle and they scratched Kuzmenko and they put Lafferty on the first line and he scored.
Oh my God.
Like
Well,
they haven't
look
really
him up.
stuck with it, but like Lafferty just first line in Vancouver, and the Leafs couldn't hold on to him.
Sam Lafferty, let's look it up. In 23 games, 5 goals, 5 assists for 10 points.
That's
Not bad.
It is
Not
not
bad.
bad.
Ugh.
It actually it's a career pace like by a mile.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I mean, listen, Vancouver's PDO is through the roof.
So
it's like
what?
historically high.
So what?
I'm throwing that out there. It is. I'm not.
He had
not a
12
believer
goals
yet.
last year. He's already got 5.
You gonna walk back Quinn Hughes is bad at defense?
He is bad at defense.
He's not.
No, he is bad at defense. No, he's bad at defense. He's
bad
great at scoring.
Net front defense.
Yes, he's terrible net front. I saw it with my own eyes against the Leafs. He's terrible in front of his net. Sorry.
Terrible.
He's terrible. Listen, he's also 23, 24. I'm sure that he's going to improve it. But
Adam
he stinks at it.
No, Adam, you don't watch him.
I do fucking watch.
Guys, I loved those comments because I was like, but I watched him watch him. I saw Adam. Adam watched him harder than any of us because he had 3 coffees during a 2.5 hour hockey game.
Fired the fuck up. That's right. But this is about the Oilers. And Connor McDavid said after the game that
Worse than Cale Makar?
that there is definitely momentum in our room. I think we can feel it. So, I mean, that is the most positive thing I've heard Connor McDavid mention since going into the playoffs.
Dude, I told you. It was a big bend but don't break win over the Vegas Golden Knights, who, you know how the Leafs, especially the Dubas Leafs, held Carolina as their pace car? They're a team that we think we're similar to, and they're just a better version of us. We need to start playing like them. Like Vegas is Edmonton's pace car. That is the team they want to beat 10 times out of 10. So that's a huge win for them. That's their biggest win of the season until the next one.
Darnell Nurse's play has been really spotlit since Knobloch took over. Because if you look at his something stupid like goals against per 60.
Okay.
Under Jay Woodcroft, it was 347.
Holy shit.
Under Knobloch, it has fallen to 149. Now, they're not even split. I think Woodcroft was fired 12, 13 games into the year, and Knobloch's taken the next 7.
What was the...
But that's a pretty big...
What was it under Woodcroft?
347.
Dude, that's like on pace to be on the ice for a goal every game.
The save percentage,
Every
while
single game.
Darnell Nurse is on the ice, has gone from .88 to .961.
That's a pretty big jump.
And that's an important thing for the Oilers. They need their guy to play...
He makes 9.25.
Yeah, kind of important. But what was interesting to me is that as soon as they abandoned the Jay Woodcroft new defensive system, it seems like, they're a good team again.
I gotta say, and like, listen, very small sample, very small sample. I was not on board with the Jay Woodcroft firing at all.
Nope.
But I tell you what, if they turn it around, and it's more, it's not just, they're getting saves now, because it seems obvious they're still not really getting them. If it's stuff like that, well, then I can get a little bit more on board with the Knobloch hiring. I mean, you can't cry over spilt milk. Like, Woodcroft's gone.
I do think
Knobloch can only do the job that is in front of him.
Going through 5 to 6 games of that system in the first part of the year and it absolutely not working and sticking with it was a choice.
Yes.
You know, like they had played defense differently and that had always been somewhat of a weakness, but their defense seemed to even out when Ekholm joined last year. It got a lot better. And when they were talking about that in the preseason, I'm like, did they really need to overhaul it? Like overhaul how they play defense? I didn't think it was that bad.
Well, again, the Oilers standard, a lot of teams come into the season wanting to win the Stanley Cup. The Oilers came in expecting to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's a different bar that we're judging them by.
Who came into this season expecting to win the Cup? Vegas, Edmonton,
Boston.
I don't know about expecting.
I think every night they go out and play hockey, they expect to win the Stanley Cup,
Yeah,
don't we?
but like we're talking about I could never be beaten mindset versus like, no, you have a realistic expectation of winning the Stanley Cup.
Carolina.
Edmonton. Yeah, Carolina borderline, Colorado,
Yeah. Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas. Like, it's a very small handful of teams. So Edmonton overhauling it, I mean, it was their greatest weakness. Like, even though they were a Cup favorite heading into the season, I don't think most people would have given them a top half defense. Certainly not a top 10. So I don't blame them for overhauling it, but they made it worse, which seemed bad.
It was a really good win for Edmonton, because if they had lost that game, it looks tremendously bad in that you had a lead with 6 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Vegas is on the second night of a back-to-back after going to overtime with Calgary. They're missing Shea Theodore and Alec Martinez.
Yeah.
And you blow the game with 6 minutes to go. That would have been like, we would have come in here screaming
To
about
Ben Hutton and Keegan Cole.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that they were able to win is so anti everything the Oilers have been so far this season. So credit to them for getting that done. It would have been a disastrous.
Kind of like the Leafs. It was like, oh, they're gonna pull an Oilers here, and then they didn't.
So Oilers did
Gutsy.
great. Did great in the shootout. Who was the better team in overtime?
The Vegas Golden Knights, but the Edmonton Oilers were the best team with 2 seconds left, and Evan Bouchard with the game on his stick. That's when they were the best
didn't bury
team.
that.
McDavid sets you up with the easiest one-timer of your entire life, and you hit the side of the net.
I thought it was in.
Me too.
Because it hit the side of the net.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I thought that was in.
Yeah, but
I wanted it to be in. I have him in fantasy.
Oh, dude, that was a GWG.
Anytime the puck was on Marchessault or Bouchard's stick, I lost my mind.
Vegas was very good in that OT game because they were carrying momentum. You know, you come back and you score a goal with Keegan goal was 2 minutes left.
Not a lot of time.
So you're carrying a lot of momentum, and Edmonton was going to get in their feelings again about how depressing this season is. But they were able to pull it off with a good shootout effort, I guess. You know, in the coin flip. So good for them for pulling it off. And Evander Kane was spectacular last night. Hyman was out. Kane filled in on that spot in the power play. Scored a goal. He was really good. And he's been one of their best players this season. Like they've
Except
had some
for when he fell down in overtime and almost cost him the game.
yes. But overtime is kind of this other thing.
Yes.
But Kane throughout that game, I think he was pretty good. One bad penalty, but like he overshadowed his good play. Overshadowed.
You take
all
the
that.
good with the bad.
Yeah.
That's his game. Right?
Kane's been good.
Patrick Kane signed in Detroit.
Other Kane.
Kane. I'll be honest. I was pretty bored by this whole thing. I didn't find it to be a saga.
You've been openly bored.
I'm like, okay, like whatever, man. Sign somewhere. And the thing is, people are like, wow, he's got to have the hip surgery. And I'm like, this player was in decline before the hip injury. Like he was.
Yes.
And steep decline. And the numbers back me up on that. So I'm thrilled for him. But I did want to bring this up from Cam Robinson.
Mm-hmm. Oh, great minds think alike. Look what I got on.
We're all going.
Do you want to read it then?
Sure.
Go ahead.
This is hockey_Robinson. NHLers post hip resurfacing surgery. Nicholas Backstrom of the Washington Capitals, 47 games played, 22 points. He's out. Carl Hagelin, 0 games played, 0 points. He's out. Ryan Kessler, 0 games played, 0 points. He's out. Ed Jovanovski, 37 games played, 5 points. So in the ends that with, here's hoping Patty Kane is different, but everyone needs to temper expectations in a big way.
What's that? Less than a season?
No one has reached 50 games played after this surgery.
Also, people were I guess going at Cam and saying, well, Marchand and Kucherov and Giroux and Point and all these guys have had surgery. Yeah, he's like hip labrum surgery.
It's
not
different.
the same thing.
Just because
There's not
it
one
contains
type of
the
hip
word hip. Guys, get a brain. There's more than... Seriously. You have to begin everything from the fucking beginning.
Who was arguing with him?
Hey, oh man, you could read his replies. It's hilarious.
Dude, not everything involving the word hip. Oh, stop.
Also, he's signed for about 2.75 prorated, works out to be about 2.05 million. This is like a low risk play for Detroit.
Yeah.
They've got the cap space to do it. Although if it doesn't work out, then they don't have the cap space come deadline, but I don't think they care. And also you reunite him potentially with DeBrincat, who's already had a great start.
Yeah. I mean, this is your sports science department. This has to be their Mona Lisa, right? The Western road trip, I don't even think you should go. Like if they go to California, like they shouldn't even send him. I'm not kidding. What?
I was reading Cam's replies. Poor Cam. People are like, I might be wrong, but didn't Zuccarello get this done and play great? He did not. Was Monahan's hip surgery a different procedure? Yes, his was a labrum surgery. Marchand, labrum. Kessler, labrum. Like he's having to instantly reply to everybody. Go, no, that's not the same. Hip resurfacing,
guys.
Like they're
It's
grinding
a very
your
specific
bones.
surgery he's talking about.
Yes.
That Patrick Kane had and these other 4 NHLers had. And we got what is it, 84 combined games that they've played post-surgery.
I love this. A Lightning fan, Point Kucherov had this surgery, and he said, no, they didn't. They had labrum surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to type in Braden Point surgery. Yeah, dude, like at the click of a finger, you can find out what surgery they had.
Yeah. And then Cam did the work.
Also, somebody's tried to say, hey, Cam, a lot of these guys were older when they had them and not as skilled as Kane. And he said Kane is 35 years old. I think people forget that Patrick Kane is 35. And just like Kessler and Backstrom when they had their surgeries.
Like, this is a waste of this human being's time.
I know,
You
Cam's a
understand
smart
that?
guy.
He needs to not reply to all these people who don't know what they're talking about.
Dude, these are all easily Googleable.
Yeah.
What do you? Oh, well, they were older. What?
And also,
he's 35. Beg your pardon.
Nicholas Backstrom's one of the best players of all time. Like,
Yes.
what are we talking about? Not as good as Patrick
And not
Kane.
playing right
and
now.
not playing after the
Because he had the surgery.
Yeah.
You fucking Bueller.
Yeah.
Guys.
He's in like the
Holy
top.
shit.
He's in the top like 10% of people who've ever played hockey. Like, and he's not good anymore, and he can't play. And he had
Guys.
22 points in 47 games played after the surgery and had to call it quits. Like, it's gonna be real hard for Patty Kane to come back here.
Dude. Oh my God. We got to be better.
Do we?
No, I guess not.
No, not really.
suppose
No, let's
not.
not hold us to too high of a standard. It's a tough time out there.
Yeah. Anyway, all I'm saying is, like, it's very interesting to me because Jack Eichel was basically held hostage by the Buffalo Sabres because he wanted to get a surgery that no one else in the NHL had ever had. Now, here's a surgery that people have had, and there's a track record of they never get back to playing well.
We're 0 for 4.
Yeah.
Backstrom, it looks like gave them some good games.
Less than 50 games.
47.
But he played, 47, and he's done.
Yeah.
He's done.
We're 0 for 4.
Hagelin played 0. Kessler has played 0. And Jovanovski is 37. Like, so this one's fine. Roll out the red carpet. Everyone's lining up to sign Patty Kane. But the Eichel surgery was a bridge too far.
The difference,
Can't do
Steve,
that.
The difference, Steve, is that Eichel was employed by a team and Kane was not. So Kane could do whatever they want. So teams want Kane. And also, Eichel cost the Sabres $10 million a year. Kane is going to cost you $2 million. And I think so. There is some pretty big discrepancies there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Eichel, the contract thing is very important because under contract, Eichel had no right to say of his own body what to do. You know, he couldn't just go pick what surgery he wanted. The Buffalo Sabres medical team has the right to say yes or no to that.
Right, but the reason they did is they're like, but the evidence.
Mm-hmm.
But with this surgery, no one has come back to be great after this thing. Wait, didn't Klingberg have this exact? No, he fucking didn't. It was a different hip surgery. But even that.
No, there's only the one.
Yeah, just one.
One hip surgery. That's all you can get.
Yeah, you go to the doctor and say, 1 hip, please. And they just fix your hip. This is fixed. Fuck my life. Holy shit, people. No, but he had a different surgery. And he's still been managing this injury for 9 years.
Yes. Yep.
It's brutal, man. You need your hips, turns out.
Weird that hockey is.
You need your hips to turn.
Funny how that's a part of it.
I don't know why that. Hey.
Hey. CJ put up his trade board for the Athletic, and obviously this is just the lead up to what is going to be an extended trade deadline. But I do think there's going to be an early move. Currently, the top 4 players are Flames: Hanifin, Lindholm, Tanev, Zadorev. Some interesting names on this for former Leafs: Ilya Lyubushkin, Jake Allen, and Sam Montembeault are on there. But one that stood out to me that I have not heard much about is a throw-in from the Cal Peterson trade. He was a part of it. He passed through Columbus. He's now a Flyer. Sean Walker, who's making $2.65 million. The Flyers are having a underrated, like they look like a team.
They're good. They're watchable.
Yeah.
They're a team worth serving for reasons beyond Schadenfreude.
And he's been playing 20 minutes a night, which is a career best. And he's been scoring points at a career best rate. And he's being allowed to join the attack, which is not traditionally a Tortorella thing, but he has really surprised some people there. And I thought that was cool because obviously the Flyers are going to flip this player, I would think.
Maybe not. What's interesting is you look at a lot of the other names on that list and they're bruisers, right? You don't get Lyubushkin for his goal scoring prowess.
No.
Although he did get one in Toronto.
Yeah.
He might have got 2. But no, Sean Walker's a little on the more skilled or smaller side, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Most teams who need that kind of already have it. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like there's always a flavor du jour. And right now, teams seem to want big guys.
Yes.
I don't think that's just a Toronto thing. I think everyone looked at Vegas and said,
Big.
Need big. And he's not big.
Right.
So you might not get good price for not big. So might be worth to keep small.
Another name on this list, Alexander Barabanov, who's been slated for free agency this summer, according to
Arrest Kyle Dubas.
Dom's charts. His market value, it's not what he's paid, but his market value is somewhere in the neighborhood of like $3.5 million.
Stop.
He's been a very good player.
Yes, he has.
A couple of other names I thought, Adam Boquist and Andrew Peak, both defensemen for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Mm-hmm.
If the Leafs didn't work out a deal, like they've been talking about the Flames and talking about the Flames, blah, 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 blah. Adam Boquist is interesting to me because he's not been great, but he also has a lot of high ceiling. And I feel like the Leafs have the opportunity to take advantage of something like that. That's what you want if you're a Leaf.
I'm sure he'd be a little bit more affordable than what Calgary's throwing out there, but like, I don't know. Don't you want to win the cup now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that is a player who could be good for you. He could be okay for you now. Could be even better for you in the future. Or you get dude who you know what you're getting, right?
Two dudes,
Zadorov,
potentially.
you know exactly what you're getting.
Tanev.
And it might not be as good as Boquist.
Yeah.
Certainly not as good as his ceiling, but you know what you're getting. And Tanev, who I don't think is going to have a renaissance in his mid-30s, but you know exactly what you're getting. I think that's the runner-up package, the Columbus one. It's one I'll take, but it's the runner-up.
Do you think it makes them any better, those two players?
I mean, while everyone's injured, yes. When everyone's healthy, meh.
Okay.
A bit, maybe.
But not great.
No.
Okay. Then why make the move?
Oh, it could replace Connor Timmins in the lineup.
Yeah, then...
Like
At
the
this
point.
time last year, the Connor Timmins trade had already been made. I believe it was November 23rd, I want to say. Last year, Dubas made that deal.
Unreal trade.
Who did they give up?
Oh, man, what's his name? He's huge. What was his name? He's a Dallas Stars draft pick. He's 6'8". Why do I remember these things and not his name? What's his fucking name?
What's his name?
I forget.
You tell me while I look it up.
Isn't it like Clark?
It's definitely not Clark.
I was like, if he says if it is Clark.
The Toronto Maple Leafs acquired Connor Timmins in exchange for Curtis Douglas.
Curtis Douglas.
Yes.
From the Arizona Coyotes on November 23rd,
I had
2022. Yeah, it was Curtis Douglas. Great little trade there by Doobie.
Absolutely. Doobie-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
So this time last year we had a trade, and this year we don't. So
Yeah, I mean, like big old blockbusters rarely happen. Matt Duchene. I hate that trade a little bit. I know Drew doesn't. I hate that trade a little bit because blockbusters at that juncture of the season are so rare. And then one happened, and it was so obviously one-sided. And this is such a copycat league that everyone's like, whoa, and they're scared, and now there's like at least a 5-year hiatus.
you
on
also
those deals.
can't make the most accurate assessment of your team 20 games in. You need a little bit more than that, you know?
I know. I think the Leafs' desire to get bigger and better at defense is probably an obvious conversation that they had like as soon as he was hired. Hey, we're not good enough at this, and everyone who was already there went, yeah.
Yeah, and then he went out and he signed Klingberg and Ryan Reeves, who's big, and they're like, all right, solved.
It was
Simone
interesting.
Benoit.
The press conference
Benoit and William Lagesson.
that he had where he was talking about the fact that they knew about the surgery, but they did not know that it was this bad. Like, this is tree living talking about Klingberg.
Yeah, he gave a date on when he re-aggravated it. I forget what game he said, but he said that on what was the press on Monday?
Third game of the season.
Yeah, so it's a new thing of the old thing.
Yeah.
Is how it was phrased. So yeah, it's not like on July 1st they knew.
Last night was a real monkey's paw moment for me because I was like, William Laguson's out of the lineup. He should be in the lineup every night. And then the finger curled and Giordano got hurt. And I went, oh, that's not quite what I meant.
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
We're going to get to Deanie Evason.
If you want to talk about Creed.
Okay, Mr. Cree Bratton.
I'm so I mean, yeah, I feel bad for Dean Evason because it felt like, listen, the Wild were always going to be, and I'm on the record, I'm a fan of what they're doing, given their cap penalties. But it was always going to be really hard, and I just don't understand how the new head coach, whose name is escaping me right now,
John Hines.
Yeah, how does he solve anything that Dean Evason couldn't?
How I looked at this situation was when like all this came out, and obviously there's a bunch of write-ups and everything, and I think it falls on to Bill Guerin here because he signed Marcus Foligno, Matt Zuccarello, and Ryan Hartman in September. You know, all of those guys could have been UFA trade pieces at some point if they suck.
They have a lot of guys locked up.
And then he locked up this team, and he believes in this team, and the team has been underperforming. They've lost 7 in a row, 13 of their last 16. So Bill Guerin's sitting there, and he says, I think I compiled a great roster, and they're not performing. So it must be the coach's fault. And I think we can take a step back and be like, maybe it's the roster and not the coach.
Yes.
Well, like, you made this bet. You said to your boss, hey, boss,
Craig Leopold,
you need to pay these two guys millions of dollars to not play for you. Mm-hmm. And here's why. And they said, okay, Bill, hope you're right. And then they did that. And last year they were pretty good.
Yes.
And he said, see how we were good? And they go, yes, Bill. And he goes, okay, now let's commit to the guys who made us good last year. And they go, okay, Bill, hope the team stays good. And he said they will. And now they're bad. And now they have millions of dollars invested in paying 2 players to not play for them, and millions of dollars committed to players who are currently on a team that's playing bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a good chance that, and they're paying a coach to not coach for them as well now. So I think there's a really good chance that whoever Bill's bosses are very cross with him indeed.
So you're talking about Bill's bosses. The big one, the nobody who's above him, Craig Leopold, the owner. Yeah. There's the report in The Athletic from the hiring that he doesn't want a rebuild. Him and Guerin cannot stomach a rebuild right now, and that is why they are trying to go for it. That's why they've fired Evason, and they want this group of guys to get it done because they believe in this roster, and they don't want to sit through years of depression in Minnesota. They want to win.
I got a whisper on my phone yesterday. I think he's in the hot seat a little bit.
Guerin? Yeah, because I think Leopold says if this team sucks, it's your fault entirely because I told you I don't want to rebuild, and you were supposed to build a good roster, and now the roster
go
sucks.
for the rebuild, guys.
I hate when teams are half something.
Yeah.
So like the one thing you have to give Bill Guerin credit for is he's like, this is our direction, wham, and he's going hard in that direction. But when it doesn't work out, you have to wear it. Mm-hmm. And it's not working out.
It's hard for me to just confidently say they need to rebuild because you have a piece like Kaprizov and a bunch of older guys, and like it's not
think they can.
It's not there right now to just instantly retool and suck for a little bit and then be good. They're kind of stuck in that middle area where they have to really go for it here.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate.
They committed to Matt Boldy.
Yeah. I don't mind the commitment to Matt Boldy, by the way.
No. I didn't criticize any of the moves. It's just they have to win with this group or they ain't winning. That's kind of the position they're in. So I understand why they fired the coach.
Yeah. And it's a couple more years like this, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you look at the roster, there's not places to move off of. Zuccarello signed the extension they signed in September for some reason for 2 more years at 4.1. Matt Boldy, as you mentioned, signed till 2030, 2029, 2030. Kaprizov, you got 3 more years at $9 million. Joel Eriksson Ek is signed till 2028.
29.
29, sorry, even longer. Marcus Foligno, the extension I mentioned, is for 4 more years at $4 million. The Ryan Hartman is 4 more years, or $4 million at 3 more years. Everybody's locked up.
Do you need
Everybody's locked up.
do you really need Frederick Gaudreau for 4 more years at $2.1 million? Is that a deal you have to sign?
Maybe.
Frederick Gaudreau signed till he's 35.
Like, is that the guy that you need?
Why?
Like, it's the same thing as the Engvall contract. Maybe it's a good contract. I don't know. Do you need it to be that long?
Why is Jonas Brodin signed till he's 35? Why is Jared Spurgeon signed till he's 34, 5, 6, 8, 38?
A bunch of
Well,
their,
to be fair, he's pretty good.
a bunch of their UFAs
At
are like
30.
probably just going to retire too. Like Fleury, I assume, is going to retire. He's 39. Bogosian, he might have some hockey left. He's 33. Goligoski's 38 at $2 million. Patty Maroon at 35. He's got to be getting up there. It's like Brandon Duhaime is the only UFA in his 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously you have Connor Dewar as an RFA.
Just the entire team is locked up, and there's not like a dearth of young talent.
It's not a particularly young team, no.
No, it's older guys.
They
for
have
long
guys.
Term. They have to go for it. They don't have a
Gustafson's
choice.
not old. Oh God, his extension kicks in too. Oh wait, no.
When is the cap penalty end, Jesse? What season is it again?
The dead cap money.
Oh my God.
2025-26.
And that
is when they
is-
get the relief.
That is Kaprizov's last year in Minnesota. If you're just going by his contract. I'm not saying he won't resign, but I'm saying it's important that this player feels like they can win here by that season.
No, they have a cap hit until 29.
I know,
No, but
800
it's
grand.
1.6 million after
800 grand each.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, in 2025-26, the cap hit from 14.7 million this year and next goes down to 1.6 million, which is manageable.
Could you not have LTIR'd one of those two guys? I know. I
No.
respect that they did it. I guess not.
They're still playing.
Yeah, they're in the league right now.
They're
playing
still playing,
hockey.
Man.
So for everyone who believes in those like LTIR conspiracy theories, like
They're still playing.
that's an obvious candidate,
so-
and both guys were like, "But we're not injured."
And isn't it interesting that the general manager who is known for doing the owner's bidding, whatever they want, who is who?
Who's that?
Chuck Fletcher.
Oh,
Who
yes.
signed those contracts
Yes.
on behalf of the owner who wanted to make a splash before the lockout happened. I find it really interesting that this guy basically has the owner here is, I think, holding the team back. Everybody knows the right thing to do, which is, or what the right thing to do a couple of years ago is go, okay, quick retool. We're going to have some cap issues. And let's put a young, scrappy, amazing team together around Kaprizov and grow the group together.
Build with Kaprizov and Boldy and Faber.
Yes. Yeah.
Gustafson,
Or maybe be able to hang on to a guy like a Fiala,
Wallstedt.
right?
Yeah.
You know, and they didn't do that. And if it's the owner that's driving this, because really Bill Guerin's there to take, you know, the owner's bidding. I feel like this is Craig Leopold's got to look at himself and go, okay, like, am I tired of being mid?
Actually, Adam, no billionaire has to look at themselves ever. What I've learned from
That's
just
actury true.
paying
Yeah, that's
attention.
true. That's true.
And just on our two favorite players, Parise and Suter. Parise is unsigned. He is a UFA. He didn't sign anywhere this season, but he did have 21 goals in 82 games for the Islanders last season. And
He's in rumors.
oh yeah, I think some team might pick him up for a playoff run, like somewhere midpoint of the season. And Ryan Suter is an everyday defenseman over in Dallas. Not putting up too much points, but yeah, he's been doing.
That was
not
a
very good.
yeah. He was good that first year at Dallas, I think.
Yeah.
But he's not very good now.
They're
You don't think he's having a good
team,
season?
They're not.
You don't think he's having a good season though?
No, he's not very good. He's not very good. Like them French Fab.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, should we do a press conference?
Sure. We can do a press conference.
Okay. Let's do one. Let's do a quick one.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
Speaking of the Minnesota Wild, we did not touch on Ryan Hartman being suspended 2 games for his play on Alex DeBrincat. Do you have any thoughts, Steve?
He
and Adam?
got slew-footed, which is worse than slashing a guy in the head, we learned.
Yep.
I mean, it's 2 games worse.
It's true.
And slashing a guy in the head. Now, one thing to look for, and producer Drew pointed this out before the show, I imagine the Wild are going to scream bloody murder that Oscar Sundqvist should be suspended for slew-footing Jacob Middleton, is it? Middleton on the Wild, who he slew-footed him. So they just had a guy get suspended. I mean, yeah, you can't go around slew-footing guys. I don't mind 2 games. But watch for that. I wonder if Sundqvist gets a call.
This question's from Tempest. Half question, half suggestion. Would it be possible?
Sorry.
Would it be possible to set up to do the Leafs take a too many men penalty bet?
I think it'd be amazing.
You probably could.
They had 13. Drew texted me during the show. They had 13 all of last year. They have 8 already.
That's
They
unbelievable.
led the league last year too.
And they're on pace for
So
32.
you would think anytime too many men call, just drop $2 on it. Why not?
Well, so they're on pace for 32. Like if that were to be a bet, it would probably hit more often than most goal bets.
Yes. Yeah.
That's how fucking bad they are. Oh my God. Yes. Can we please get on the horn and get someone to make that? Yes, that would be incredible.
This
Terrible,
is
though.
from Damian Cray. Will Matthews eventually pass Ovechkin in all-time goals? So this isn't an out-of-nowhere question because
I know.
Matthews' current goal pace from where he is goals played to goals scored is ahead of where Ovechkin was at the exact same point of games played in his career. So he's at a better goal-scoring pace than the greatest goal scorer of all time.
It's crazy.
So what do you guys think?
Well, it's difficult to picture now on account of he just hasn't been very good. I know he has, 14, 15 goals, but he has not been playing good. He's scored in bunches. But that's not what you're asking. You're asking about 1,000 games from now or something like that.
Yeah.
What's working in Matthews' advantage is he's playing in a era where the goal scoring is going up.
Yes.
It's at the highest it's been since Ovechkin's rookie year. Now, what happened and what made Ovechkin so freakish is his goal scoring continued to go up.
Yep.
While the leagues went down.
It's not about Ovechkin's early years. It's about his later years where he did the impossible and
Yes.
kept scoring.
He has one of the highest He has one of the highest era adjusted goal totals in NHL history, single season. Like Gretzky's 92 goal season for era adjusted goals actually isn't in first. I don't even think it's in second. I think first and second belong to Brett Hull.
Is it Brett Hall?
yes.
I thought it was one of Mario's years.
No, believe it or not, no. It
Oh,
was,
wow.
It was one of I can't remember how many Brett
I can do it.
scored.
What, his most?
It wasn't the
76.
season- it wasn't the season where he scored 76. It was a different one.
Oh, okay.
I did a whole article on this years ago at Sportsnet.
Yeah, I was going to find your article.
Oh, there you go. So Matthews has that leg up on Ovechkin. The reason we're years away from me wanting to commit to that is Ovechkin. It's not the freakish goal scoring. It's the unbelievable durability. Matthews has already had like numerous surgeries, He's missed 20 games here, 20 games there. Like it's going to be really hard for him to get up to Ovechkin's games played totals. And you know, Matthews is, I believe, 2 surgically repaired wrists. It's going to be difficult to remain this good for that long.
So this article is from Steve Dangle Glynn of Sportsnet in October 20th, 2017 for the Dangle blog. It is era-adjusted greatest NHL goal-scoring seasons of all time. And a handy-dandy little chart right in the middle of the article illustrates the top era-adjusted single-season goals. Single seasons for goals scored, top 10 era-adjusted. I said that backwards, but
Yes.
still, right there. Brett Hull leads the list. His 86-goal season era-adjusted is 78. Second is Ovechkin's 07-08 season of 65 goals. Era-adjusted is 72. And third is Mario. That 85-goal season is era-adjusted 71.
But look how many goals Gretzky loses. So his 83-84, where he scored 87 goals, is era-adjusted 69. goes down 18, and his 92 goal season goes down to 68. So his 92 goal season isn't even his highest goal scoring season, at negative 23. But like Stamkos, because he played in, that was the 11-12 season where he scored 60, players weren't scoring.
Yep.
So it goes up 8 goals. Pavel Bure also in 2000-2001, dead puck era, it goes up 6. And Ovi goes up 7.
That 60-goal Stamkos season is very impressive.
And not talked about enough.
Yeah.
Not talked about enough.
No, wild season from him.
Yeah,
Wild season.
the my favorite Ovechkin season is the one where they came back from the lockout in 12-13, and he didn't score for like the first 10 games, and then he made a comment. They're like, Alex, do you think there's something wrong? He's like, yeah, I think my career's over.
He had 32 goals in 48 games.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is he didn't score in like the first 10.
Yeah.
So it was like a goal a game afterwards.
So however many 50-goal seasons he has, he should have had more.
It's like the Matthews
because of
thing,
that.
too.
Yeah.
It's so similar how their careers have kind of mirrored each other early on with things out of their control derailing 50-goal seasons.
Matthews had like 3 50-goal seasons before he hit 50
Yes.
for the first time.
Yeah.
Like it was
Yeah.
ridiculous. So the other thing from the other day, so David Perron just scored his 300th goal
Okay.
in his career.
Alan Walsh client?
Alan Walsh client. 300 goals is crazy. David Perron became the 222nd player to ever do it.
Okay.
7,606 players have ever played in the NHL, not including goalies. That means David Perron is in the top 3% of goal scorers all time,
Okay.
and he's played over 1,000 games. Matthews, at game number 500, had 313.
That's crazy.
So Matthews, 500 games into his career, is already in the top. It's not even 3. It's less than that. It's like 2.8% of NHL players ever.
Wow.
Ever.
In terms of goal scoring.
And goal score.
for him.
And if you score 600, you're one of
Yeah.
like 20 players ever.
Yeah.
And like, it sure seems like he's going to get there.
600, I think. If injuries, are the only thing that'll
It's really
stop
hard.
him. Yeah.
500 seems very attainable, and even that puts you in like the top 1.
500 from like 3 seasons from now, to be honest.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
He's going to do, Drew's laughing, but he's going to do it within this contract.
Well, yeah, I mean,
kicks in next year, and what is it? 4 years or 5? 4?
What
would he
we made
need to
such a
average?
big deal about it, we don't even remember.
oh, guys.
He
So
need to average 40.
he's got
5
313
years.
right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
He'll
very,
absolutely do it with it.
very, very good chance he gets to 500, and then
Then you could start maybe having that conversation.
like,
maybe.
do you see the conversation we're having? We're like, okay, if he stays durable, then he's got to do this for this amount of time. Ovechkin, when he was supposed to be going down to like 40 and 30, and if he can play for this long at 35 goals, maybe. No, he's been scoring 50, 50, 50,
55.
50, 50. And then, like last year, he had a fall off where I think he still hit 40. And this year, I know he had
42 and 73 last year, yeah.
Yeah, so he missed time and he still hit 42. What's he at this year?
5 and 18.
Yeah, just wait.
And like
It's Ovi.
Matthews got to be able to play till he's like 40, Like it's not an impossible task, but it's pretty impossible.
It's what a road.
Yeah.
That is so stupid. Look at this stupid man's career.
Oh,
Look at this stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
Look at that stupid nonsense.
It's
That's
insane.
so ridiculous.
I like that
Longevity
one
is part
season
of
where
it.
he's minus 35. That's hilarious.
Like Gretzky.
Scores 50 goals, is still minus 35.
I know. Gretzky being the greatest goal scorer ever is like, I would say, still up for debate because Mike Bossy lived and breathed, in the National Hockey League. But what screwed it up for him?
Injuries.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ovechkin has the longevity and the elite talent. But like, dude, Gretzky scored 9 goals in his final season. and Ovechkin is like almost his age when he retired.
Wow.
And like, look what he's doing. Like,
It is crazy.
if Gretzky maintained
Put it one more way.
Ovechkin's pace, he'd be at 1,000 goals.
What did you say, Adam? What did you say?
I just said put it one more way.
Oh,
I need
Adam's
you
done.
Time. I'm just
Adam's
giving you
done.
shit.
I need to be
I'll hit
real.
the button.
All right, hit the button. But no,
Wait.
what we got from that is that Ovechkin scored a lot, and it's impressive.
Yeah.
You have to give players the flowers when they can receive them.
100%.
I always support these conversations because it's important to appreciate greatness while it is here.
No, let's hate it until later and then get nostalgic about it.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.